Welcome to class 11 of Secretarial practice. So in the last class we were discussing regarding formation of company. So already the first stage, so that is promotion stage, and the steps involved in the promotion stage we have completed. So today we are going to move on with the next stage, so that is incorporation stage. So incorporation stage is also called as registration stage. So where you are going to get your company registered. Okay, a company is said to be incorporated when it fulfills the formalities of registration and obtain the certificate of incorporation by submitting the memorandum of association and the writing consent of all the directors. So company is going to get its company registered. In order to get the company registered, so you have to fulfill some requirements, formalities of registration, and only then you are going to get the certificate. So that certificate is called as certificate of incorporation. And now what are these formalities? So as a formality, as a procedure, you have to submit some documents. So that documents are like your memorandum of association, articles of association, and the written consent of all the directors. Along with that, you have to give a copy of registrar letter approving the name of the company. So it is said that in order to get the company registered or incorporated, the following procedure is to be adopted. So like your preliminary activity. So as a preliminary activity, so before a company is incorporated, the promoter has to take a decision regarding the following. So what is the name of the company? He have to decide the name of the company. So he should get or obtain the license under the Industries Development and Regulation Act 1951. And he have to file some documents with the registrar. So as I told you, so the memorandum of association, articles of association, so the list of directors, written consent of directors, and the statutory declaration. And after this, you are going to get your company registered. Okay, so after promotion, in simple, if I want to explain you, so after promotion stage, the promoters proceed to get the company registered. So what they do, they apply to the registrar and get the particular name reserved, so that can be adopted by the company. To form a public company, we should have at least 7 members or 7%, and to form a private company at least 2 persons are required. And the purpose for which the company is going to be incorporated, so that should be lawful, it should not be illegal. Okay, so then at the time, as I said, at the time of getting your company registered, you have to give some documents, right? So what type of documents you are going to give it now? So the first is your memorandum of association. So memorandum of association is nothing but the first documents, right? The first document of a company prepared by the promoters. So who will be at the first stage? The promoters, right? The promoter is going to prepare this document and they are going to file it with the registrar. So here the memorandum of association contains the objectives, aims, capital structure, nature and liability of company. So is it necessary to have the memorandum? So memorandum, the main purpose of memorandum, what is the main purpose? It is nothing but a company is to make its readers aware of its contents, so as to avoid any kind of fraud and misinformation in the further. So by company or by its directors or officers or the employees or any other who is in default. So for that purpose, in order to avoid the fraud, misinformation, so because of this, you are going to have a particular document called as memorandum of association. So what it contains, as I said you, it contains your objectives, object clause, liability clauses, capital clause, association clause. So and memorandum of association is a type of legal paper, so that is prepared when forming and registering the limited liability company. Okay, so memorandum of association is the important document. So what is important, or what is the importance of memorandum of agreement? So memorandum of association, memorandum of association is a documents so which is written by or written between the parties of cooperatively work together or on an agreement upon a project or meet an agreement upon an objective. Okay, so this is the first document which you are going to submit at the time of registration, and this memorandum of association, articles of association, you are going to study in detail in the next chapter. The next is your articles of or articles of association. So what is this articles of association? Articles of association is also the document, or we can say the secondary document of the company. Okay, that is a secondary document of a company, so which contains the rules, regulation regarding the internal management of company. So regarding the internal management of company, or the relationship between the company and its workers, so is there in your articles of association. And so this is also the document which you are going to submit, which you are going to submit for your at the time of getting registration. Then the next is notice and address of registered office. Okay, so notice, you are going to give the notice, and address of registered office. So this should be filed along with the memorandum of association and articles of association, and it should be filed within 30 days of incorporation. The next is form relating to the director, so which means the list of persons who have consented to act as a director, the number of persons, the list, so that you are going to submit. Okay, so the next is written consent of directors and underwriters. So written consent of directors and underwriters means to be the director you have to purchase the qualification share. So you have to give in writing, so that yes, I am ready to act as a director of so and so company. Then the statutory declaration. So statutory declaration is nothing but a declaration says that all the legal compliance or whatever act is there, so everything whatever is there in that I am going to agree with. So that declaration I am going to give. So that is called as your statutory declaration. And after this, after submitting each and every documents, so you are going to get the certificate, and that certificate we call it as certificate of incorporation. So on the registration of memorandum and other documents, the registrar will issue a certificate known as certificate of incorporation. So certifying under his hand that the company is incorporated, and in case of limited company, that the company is limited. Okay, so you are going to get what? You are going to get certificate of incorporation. So it is the birth certificate of company. So the company will come into existence from the date that is mentioned in the certificate of incorporation, and the date appearing on its is conclusive even though it is wrong. So you cannot change it again. So even though it is wrong, it will be finalized if the certificate once issued, it is final. Okay, so here you have a specimen certificate of incorporation. So just to go through that. So now what do you understand with this incorporation or registration stage? So incorporation or registration is the second stage. One thing is clear, right? First stage is your promotion stage. So information of company, this stage is the second stage. So it is a registration that brings the company into existence, and through this stage we are going to get our company into existence. So a company is properly constituted only when it is duly registered under the act, and the certificate of incorporation is obtained from the registrar of the company. So the act means whatever you are going to have, so that should be lawful, and you should have the certificate of incorporation, so that is obtained by the registrar of the company. So what are the effects of incorporation? So the certificate of incorporation is a conclusive evidence of the fact, right? So fact that the company is properly incorporated and duly registered. So means all the things like the terms of memorandum and articles of association, so that are lawful. So all the requirements of the act in respect to registration, so that are agreed or complied with. The private company, if it is a private company, so they can immediately start their business after getting the certificate of incorporation, and with the issue of certificate the company takes birth with a separate legal entity. Okay, so this is regarding your incorporation stage, and the duties relating to incorporation stage, so that I am going to teach you in the next class.